Wagwan, you beautiful person, you. Welcome back. Mind Bully Podcast, a podcast focused on beating the hell out of your negative voice. Norense Odiase is this here fine young brother. I'm from Dallas, Texas, but I'm a Naija boy, a child of 4 siblings, 3 siblings, Nigerian immigrants, all of that. And this is a podcast. This is a podcast where we're focused on overcoming the negative voice, the limiting beliefs, the inner talk, self-narrative that you have that thinks that you can't do the things that you actually want to do in life. This is a podcast where every single week, yours truly, you as well, speak and talk to each other behind this mic and camera on how we can overcome and challenge that voice. For this episode and for all my episodes, another disclaimer before we start. I never edit. I never do that because I know that my UVP, unique value proposition, is to just be myself. Because in this life, in this day and age, there is so many fakers. And I don't want to speak and start this from an outside lens, like, you're a faker, you're a faker, you're a faker. No, I've had several times in my life, even with this podcast, where I want to portray an image of myself that is not who I actually am. For starters, I felt, and still the negative voice, the mind bully in my head, to have a podcast that's meaningful to people, you have to have a beautiful background. You have to be seated. You have to have all this nice tech equipment. You have to have people come to you in person. That's why it's almost like I've stopped doing interview styles, because in my head, I had to sit with myself and write. Why is that? Why is that? Why do I feel like I haven't reached out to people to be on the podcast to share? Is it because my content's doing well and I think I'm just a content guy? Is it because there's so many racing thoughts? Just to start, as you know, this is random. There's so many racing thoughts that I have, that you have, that we have on life, on how we think it's supposed to look, how our journey's supposed to look. And I found in my story that whenever you yield and you give way and you give room. And in my head, I'm like, I think I said yield last week, but I'm like, this is my experience. This is what it is. I'm not changing. I literally, before this, I wanted to look at my past episode and be like, I be talking a lot. And so when I talk a lot, when you talk a lot, you don't know what you've said previously. And I don't want to say the same thing now, but I don't like planning this. I don't think it's fun for myself to sit here and speak at you, because that place and space in life is not where I'm at. I'm not at a place to, well, see, I'm challenging myself. Because the negative voice, the mind bully, as you have dedicated yourself to your work, I'm talking about you now, your work, whatever you do, it tries to get you to minimize your impact to the point where you can't even see why you would even try to do more with it. For me, to make this clear for this podcast, I've sold my life to this. Every single thing that I do is based on helping you. I'm wanting to inspire you to be yourself, to challenge that negative voice. And so every single day, I'm either editing, I'm writing. I just wrote for like 3 hours, and I'm trying to think of life experiences, concepts to be able to make this clear. I know me, I'm not a perfect person. I'm ADD. My mind races all the time. I go on rambles, I go on rants. And I see, yesterday I was looking at the podcast charts, and almost because I know this would help you. Whenever you have a dream, a goal, it's important to do one thing. It's important to see a meter, see somebody doing it at a high level, and to not be jealous of their journey, be inspired by what they're doing, and to look at the categories. For me, I'm like, okay, what is this? A mental health podcast, a life podcast, self-help, all these different things. For you and me, I know even with content creation, you can't put me in a box. I'm not a niche. What's your niche? I used to say that all the time, but now I understand that it's powerful for people to meet you where you're at, to meet over a medium like, oh, I'm holding up a pen for audio listeners. If we like pens, I'm going to talk on pens, so I can put the pen down and speak about my life. Because once you say, oh, you like pens, oh, what do you like the pen? You like the function, how it writes, how smooth it is, how it doesn't run out? Oh, he's influencing me to buy a pen. And then once he influences you to buy a pen, he influences you in other ways of your life. That's how relationships, communication is. And so for your story, for my story, how do we use where we are now to help the masses, to help the world? And I know if you're listening to this, if you're watching this, you have a gift. I say this all the time. I do not care. I will die about it. I'm going to die about it. Hey, you talking about for them people, that's not from the area, not. Hey, you talking about, hell you talking about means get it clear through your thick, fat head. Not just you, get it through it clear, speak it out, get it clear through my thick, fat head that you have a gift, a gift. And if you have a gift, it's not just to sit with this gift. Christmas is the month of Christmas. On the 25th, we all have agreed that this is the day that we celebrate Jesus Christ being born. Okay, so Jesus Christ being born on this gift, and you open up all your gifts, all your presents, and you don't do nothing with it. You don't even open it up. It's not even that. You just look at it. You shiny. And everybody compliments the shiny gift. Oh, that's a nice wrapping. You got a nice big bow. I like the way you package that together. During this time of year, I usually take great pride in sending Christmas letters, which I will. I bought like 12 the other day from Amazon. I need another 12 pack. But in my head, I'm like, bruh, I'm buying all this new equipment, camera gear, all this stuff, the money racking up. And I just did a Texas Tech. I did a live podcast series with my alma mater, Texas Tech. And I'm like, oh, that little bread running dry. I haven't had consistent income this year because I'm away from the game. And I've sold myself to this, like I said. And so this will help you as well. There's moments of time, there's moments of life, rather, where we're in these seasons, in this transition season. And there's so many skills and abilities that you have. And if you wanted to, right now, you could go get a job. You could go do that. You could go get a job and sell your time and sell your energy and sell your effort and sell everything to that job. And I want to preface this by saying, I'm in my parents' crib. I'm 29 years old at my parents' crib, thankfully. And sometimes when I say this, it sounds weird because the next thing I'll say is it's about almost 8,000 square foot house with 6 rooms, all these trinkets. So it's like, oh, it's a nice parents' crib. So it's like a pat on my back. It gives me a state of approval. No, it is the truth, but no. But as a man at the age of 29, and you have skills, you have abilities. And for me, I had a conversation with my dad yesterday about my 2008 BMW. It still drives, but it makes a sound and it has no heat. And he's like, bro, you need a new car. He's been telling me this for a long time. He's like, if you need some help, I got you. Because of tax season, he was just like, hey, it makes sense for me to, you feel me, my business. In my head, I'm like, bro, I don't want you to help me. It's the pride. I don't want you to help me. I'm going to get it on my own. I told him, you good? I'm going to have to sell some crypto or some stocks. Because that thing running up in my stocks portfolio doing well. And every time I transfer from my funds from my Robinhood to my account, I cry inside because it's like something inside of me tells me that I'm defeated. Something inside of me tells me that I've lost something. Something inside of me tells me that if I don't have the funds, if I don't have the money, if I don't have the income steady coming in, I used to work an Amazon sales job for those that don't know, as well as playing in the NBA G League. And the funds for that sales job was about $2,000 plus a week. And with the NBA job, it was not really about the funds. I'm being open and really transparent here. It's not really about the funds. It was about the idea and the mission and the goal to attain this dream of being an NBA player since an early age. And sometimes I sit with myself and I think about that. I think about the opportunity to sell your life to a dream, to a goal, to a vision, and you achieve it. And like 2019, I went to Texas Tech and I was in the Final Four. That was a trying year of my life. The next year I was with the Phoenix Suns. And I always say I attained it, but as an athlete, you're like, did you really? Because I was with the training camp with the Suns, and then I was on the G League. Like I didn't play an actual regular season game with the Phoenix Suns, but I got the jersey, hell. And I got clips of me shooting that tray ball, hell. But the rest of my time, I was with the NBA G League. Then I went overseas and I bounced around the G League again, from Detroit's G League to Charlotte's G League twice to Dallas Mavericks G League. And even saying that is almost freeing. That's why I know there's so many people that say, oh, everybody got a podcast. You have a voice, and it's never a time where you're able to sit with yourself and to process your life experiences. I have found great joy in writing, and I didn't know that I would. I used to think it was a chore, but it allows me to line out my thoughts and iron out what I think, to discover more on what I think. And you almost get clarity. And almost using that as an example, you get clarity on your life's mission when you're able to do that in other areas, like me communicating behind a mic, me understanding and wanting to know deeper about people. And I say all that to say, going back to the point about the G League, as a NBA G League player, anybody in a developmental league, your dream and the skills that you've acquired on the journey, on the road to achieve that dream, you almost can't realize that when you step away from that. The language, the jargon behind what you've done, because you've done a lot, and trying to place that in other places, other spaces, other industries in this life, it gets challenging to communicate what you've already accomplished. You've already learned how to deal with ambiguity, people from all different walks of life, to challenge them, to motivate them, to stay consistent. Your process, you wake up early morning, sleep late at night, this thing of, oh, I'm going to take a day off. It's not something that's your function. Not saying if you're listening to this, you can't have days off. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying this as a person with a lived experience, that anybody that has a high performance, a high pressure situation, you have skills. And for me, I'm speaking on my life because I want to speak, and I don't want to speak at you. I want to speak with you. For me, being able to translate the skills that I have from not only the NBA G League, my time in basketball, and in my head, I'm like, I'm not done playing basketball, but obviously what I'm creating right now has taken over my life, and I've found really inspiration and great passion. And I know that this is my life's work. So I haven't even thought of this. So maybe I am, because when I watch the game, when I watch basketball, I don't find the joy in play, if you will. I don't find that. When I'm playing and I'm in the gym by myself and I'm either listening to an audiobook or listening to the Bible or listening to a great speaker that I love, like a Kenneth Hagin or a Miles Monroe or a Fred Price, or just different things that I listen to. When I listen to them and I'm playing and I'm doing something that I don't even think about, and maybe that's something I compare with your story. Whenever you're able to free your mind away from what you're doing and trying to write and read and act, and you're doing so many things, whenever you're able to learn in freedom, if you will, and do something that you don't even have to think about. Like, I don't even have to think about some of the drills that I do in basketball, running. I don't have to think about it. It's freeing. And then the release of working out, fitness, you get your body right, looking good like the kid, you feel me? Chiseled as it is. I got on a wife, nope, I'm not going to say that. I got on a tank top for those on audio. I got my guns out, putting up my muscles for those on audio. Anyways, chiseled face for those on audio. Anyways, whenever you're able to process in freedom, it's like a sigh of release. I almost did it just there. It's my joy. That's another thing away from the game. When you've sold yourself out for this one dream and you're so used to this one way to live and this one daily process, and you're so used to bouncing from this city to this city to this city to this city to this city. You're so used to disconnection not being in one place rooted and knowing everybody, you have to learn that. And for me, all my friends, well, and I don't want to say this with air quotes for those on the audio listeners. I did the air quotes, but I don't want to say this and mean the wrong thing. But I know if you're doing something, whether you're on a sports team, you're in a job, you're in this community where you see people all the time. Maybe you're at in college, work in a church. You see people all the time and you call them, oh, these my friends, my family, all this. Maybe it is. But I've found that term of friends usually in developmental stages, adolescent ages of our lives is really out of convenience. Like they happen to be the only person that likes this one thing or likes this similar thing. And if everybody likes the similar thing, you like it. And then, oh, these people are not rude like everybody else and call me an African booty scratcher, call me Igop, Yave Gop, call me black. Oh, big bald body. This person ain't making fun of me. Okay, that's my friend. And in my experience, I used to get picked on. And even saying picked on, you see how I rolled my eyes? For those on audio, I rolled my eyes because as somebody now, even my mind really tells me, oh, get over it. Oh, don't say that. Don't. It's the truth. I used to get picked on. But there was another truth that came with it that in those ages, I wasn't able to respond in the ways that I would like to. Now, obviously, now you're afforded and awarded with a new perspective on your life. And if you listening to this, you can look back on the times that you've deemed, oh, those kids were rude. Oh, those kids were rude. Oh, those kids were rude. Oh, I didn't know. Oh, I was lame. Oh, I was to know. No, the way that they were loved, that's how they shared love. And so I'm bouncing around everywhere. This is how I do. I'm open. I think this is how conversations are. They're not one topic, drill it in your thick head. No, because when I started this, I'm like, I'm no expert. I'm a guy with a lived experience. So how can I drill a topic down your thick head? No, I'm going to bounce around and flow. And if you got to go, bye, go. I kiss my fingers to those listening. Anyways, if you go back in your childhood, in your journey, you go back in your story, and you're able to question how you came up with the conclusions that you've come to now in your life from your self-concept, what you believe that you can do with your abilities, and what your abilities mean in the marketplace around you. When you're able to see why you think the way that you do, how and where it came from, you're able to come with a different perspective. And for me, using that picked on, big gap tooth, sometimes now, well, the only thing the insecurity that I might have is because I still have a cracked tooth and I openly show it because one, I don't got the insurance. You just heard that Amazon job. Nope. Don't got it. Basketball. Nope. Don't got it. What I'm doing with content creation, I haven't even reached out to all these brands because I'm like, okay, what is my niche? Okay, I do these one videos on a ledge that I'm speaking the hearts and I'm speaking real information and I'm learning all these things about cinematography. But like literally, I'm selling my life to getting better at my material and reading and writing. And so I don't have time to reach out. And then it's like, you don't even have time to dream. I told somebody yesterday on Instagram, one of my friends, shout out Efeturi Agbeduta. She was on this podcast. And I posted something about modeling because I went to a modeling event and I'm inspired by creativity, just being able to take yourself out of the current situation where you're at and honestly to dream. As I was in the space, it was raining. We were outside on the rooftop and it was cold. I had on this big trench coat jacket in a room full of people I don't know. I was invited because there's two people that go to my church, a Buffy Youngblood and a Ugona. They invited me because I did this modeling thing for their marketing brand that's going to come out. I think it's seven Sundays is what it's called. The idea is to be able to come with your Sunday's best every day. And I think that's how I dress. Anyways, I dress with loafers. I like the real jackets. I like strong collars. I like turtlenecks. Anyways, I was at there and it was a showcase of creativity, a December party. And they had these models walking down a makeshift runway, if you will. And as the rain was pouring down, I was looking at their faces and they were in character. As one girl came walking down, she had her shoulders back, her chest to the sun, her face locked in. And I don't even know what their face is locked in. Their eyes are pierced like, ooh, mysterious. But I find it so inspiring. Just the idea to see yourself outside of where you are now. I find it so inspiring to be able to have a vision, to have a mission, to have a dream, to have a passion, to have a goal, and to bring your emotions into that character. I was listening to an actor rather, speak on acting and creativity, and he was aligning that with sports and being able to be in a community of people with a certain goal, with a certain mission, and sharing your whole everything to it, losing yourself into it and locking into it. And I'm finding that passion in creativity. I say all that to say, using that as an example, using the model as an example, because I want to get better at analogies and all these things. Using all this as an example, what in your life, what in your story, in this specific time, because again, wellness, if you look at wellness is functioning functioning optimally in your current environment. That's wellness. Again, functioning optimally in your current environment. Wellness is not, oh, I want to get there. 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 That's not wellness. Wellness is functioning optimally in your current environment. And in your current environment, the question then becomes, how are you functioning? How are you living your life? If you're just simply working your job, if you're just simply punching in the clock, and again, who am I, right? You have kids, you don't have kids. You in New York, you in an expensive spot where you got a mortgage, where you got a rent to pay, where you got car bills, cell phone bill, you got bills on bills on bills. Who am I? I'm sitting here at my parents' crib speaking to you with only bills is podcast stuff and creative stuff. Who am I? But I'm just sharing my opinion. No more disclaimers. When you're in a space where you can, look at the gift that God has given you. If your job rather, doesn't afford you the ability to actually work on your work. I always say this, and I've gotten this from Miles Monroe, and he probably got this from somebody else. And that's the thing. It's so freeing to be able to share this because some things that I've said, I didn't come up with that. And at first I thought, oh, the greatness was in what you said, the message. The greatness is not in your message. The greatness is in the gift behind the message. I can say, you can do this. You can do this. You can do this. Just using me as an example, not saying, oh, I'm the best. I can say that and it go viral, not because of what I'm saying. It's because of how I'm saying it. And because of the passion and the will behind how I'm saying it. And because I actually mean that you can do this. I'm saying all that to say, there's so many times you discredit what you have inside because, oh, they did that. I don't want to steal that. It's not stealing. And everything is stealing. Everything is taken from somebody. And you don't know, oh, the person that you're saying, oh, I can't take it from them. They took it from somebody. And they took it from somebody. And they took it from somebody. So this idea that you have to be an original is a original idea from your mind bully. the enemy, the adversary after your life because it tries to steal that away from you, steal you even trying because, oh, they said something so cute and beautiful and I couldn't possibly say it that way. So I gotta shrink. No. I say all that to say the time, the place that I'm in personally in my life, I'm in a transitional stage. And I try to think of other words to say because I say transitional stage a lot, but I'm finding the benefit in consistency and saying the same things over and over and over again so you can get it through your thick, fat head. In this transition stage of your life, in our life, in my life, how can you understand how you function without tension? Without tension, without pain, without pressure, without uncertainty. How do you understand how you function, how you work, what you're made of, the gift that you have? How do you understand that you actually can put that thing under pressure and rise from the ashes? You don't understand that until you go through something. If wellness is functioning optimally in your current environment, I need you to look at your story. I need you to look at your current environment. And I need you to look at how you've been functioning. If you say, yes, Norense, I got my funds right, baby. I'm good. You feel me? Yes, Norense, my mind is right. My mind is alert. You feel me? Yes, Norense, my emotions are in check. You feel me? If you're listening on audio, I'm doing the hands like a sassy hands, like I'm talking with my hand. Yes, Norense, my relationships are exactly where I want them to be. You feel me? All of that, I would say you are a liar from the pit of hell. Anyways, if you are in a space where mentally, emotionally, financially, relationally, socially, politically, all the LLYs, if you can honestly search within yourself and say, I'm not functioning optimally, just ask yourself why. And to ask yourself, what need in this place that I'm in am I not getting? Usually the things that we're struggling with in our lives have to do with needs and wants and having our needs not met, having our needs unmet rather, having our beliefs, our core beliefs rooted in the past and rooted in the pain of our past, which happens to not be the truth because you are not what you went through. You are you. Again, you are not what you went through. You are not what they did to you. You are not what they said to you. You are you, a beautiful human being that God specifically placed on this earth for a reason. You came from parents. Yeah, they came and they birthed you, but God knew you before you was in your mother's womb. I really sat with this the other day. Obviously, you hear this a lot if you're in faith, if you're in the community, but think about it. God knew you before the creation of the world. That's one. You leave that to the wayside. It's beautiful to know that too. But God knew you before you were in your mama's womb. Think about that. That actually has to mean something here. It means you were someone before you are someone. Again, to make this concrete, you are a spirit. You have a soul. You live in a body. So let's do process of elimination, because sometimes when you zero in on what something is not, you really have clarity on what it is. Okay. But probably a bad example. But anyways, threefold nature. You are a spirit. You have a soul. You live in a body. 1, 2, 3. Okay. If I knew you, God says, I knew you before you was in your mama's womb. Well, that takes out the body part because you didn't have a body yet because your body hadn't squeezed out of her body to be poof, this body that you have. So let's eliminate that. Two left. Oh, a soul. If you look at the definition of soul, mind, your will, like what you do, the will to achieve, the will to dream, the will to move out in this life, the will to go to church, Norense, because it's 22. You got about 40 minutes to go to a 9:30 service. You hadn't brushed your teeth. You hadn't washed your face. You hadn't put on, I was going to say makeup. I don't wear makeup. Hello, I'm a heartthrob. You hadn't put on clothes yet. You hadn't taken a bath. Anyways, your mind, will, and emotions. You had no emotions. Well, that's to be debated because you was probably crying, kicking, screaming when you was in your mama's womb. But anyways, you want any of that because you hadn't poofed out the cocoon yet. So let's take that down. It leaves it up to one, a spirit. A spirit. What is a spirit? Spirit. You are beyond this external experience that you have right now. You are so much more. And you're only limiting your life to what you see now and what you feel now and what you experience now. But you are a spirit, first and foremost. I say this all the time because it helps me on that little Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Oh, I need food, water, shelter. Man shall not live on bread alone, but by every word of God, on the word of the Father. That's one. Why? Why did he say that? Why did Jesus say that to the enemy when he was on top of the mountain? And the enemy, Satan, was tempting him in his mind. Oh, you should just throw yourself down, eat this food, all this. In the time of transition, using Jesus as an example, he had just got off a fast. No food, no nothing for 40 days, just on the word of the Father. And he was all man, all God, but just on the word of the Father. He's able to empathize and sympathize with your emotions, with my emotions, because he was in a state of transition. He was in a state of yearning, wanting more. He was in a state of, man, I'm hungry. And for me, when I'm hungry, boy, you can't tell me nothing. I ain't listening to nothing, bro. I'm finna go and get some food before I do anything. The enemy came with what he thought he needed. No, what he needed. Yes, the enemy, the adversary after your life will come to you with a need and say, this is what you need. You need that bread. So you better go sell your body on OnlyFans. You better go sling rock. Yeah, let's talk about real life. Let's go sell our bodies on OnlyFans because you are the temple of the Holy One. Your body is a temple holding the Holy One inside of you because the society say, oh, get bread, get money, get money. Okay, I'm going to use this temple for this. Or you are a temple and you're drinking, you're cursing, you're doing all this, sleeping with this girl, with this girl. I've done it before in my life. I am not saying, oh, you're the holier than thou. No, I'm saying these are the things that we live in life. So why don't talk about them? Anyways, the enemy tries to use, your mind belief tries to use needs that you need against you. For me, for you in this transitional period of your life, how do we respond? Like that little bracelet we used to wear as kids, WWJD, what would Jesus do? How do we respond like Jesus? Because I'm made in his image. And say that I'm not responding by what you think that I need, even though I need it. Because that's not the only thing I need. I need his word too. I need provision too. I need guidance too. I need real wisdom too, not worldly wisdom. How do I walk off truth? As you're listening to this, I want to close because I don't even know how long I've been going. I'm going to look over. It's been 33 minutes. It's a good timing to close. Like you said, aforementioned, like I said, I need to go to church. As I close, how do we think about this place and space that we're in our life? How do we think about how we function right now? And what are the ways that we can actually function optimally in our current environment? How do we understand that all the things that we try to do and work and grow to is a fraction of who we are because we're trying to solve this need in our mind, solve this need with our wills and what we do, solve this need in our emotions to feel good, to feel the process, to feel happy. But in times of my life, and I know if you're honest, in times of your life, you can check off all the boxes with all the money you've had, all the support you have, all the love you've had, and you have people around you, but you still feel lost. How do you understand that? The truth that you're going to, as I stumble on my words, the truth you are to go to is the truth. Because sometimes I hesitate. Well, in my mind, it hesitates. Oh, you talk about God so much. And I've talked about this. You talk about God. You preach. And that's another thing with content. You I want to do more things in person because in real life, because behind the screen, you don't know what people resonate with. And this whole thing is to connect. I don't do it for you, but I do it for my words to touch you because I'm a vessel of the Holy Spirit giving it to you. But I do it for me too. Anyways, I want to be able to connect. And I'm saying that to say, how do you look at your environment that you're in, the transition stage that you're in? How do you understand the gifts that you have and that the pressure of this season of your life to function optimally in this current environment is to actually look deeper at your gifts that God placed inside of you? It's not to look at your job. Yes, still work your job, do all that, but it's about the vision that you have and to reframe the way that you look at life. I have this talk and before this, I never think about episode titles until after, and maybe I'll call it this, maybe I won't. Reframe your vision is an opportunity I have on 2 days from now. So this is a Sunday. I'm going to do it on Tuesday. And it's the ability to come from a faith perspective. I'm on this panel with these Ish Major and other people. I just know Ish Major. Sorry, shout out Ish Major. I know those people's name, but I'm on there. And part of me is like, oh, wow, like that's kind of huge. But then negative voice is like, why are you there? But even though I've done this a bunch of times, I've spoke on panels, I've done so many things. So you provide evidence, but it's still a negative voice that comes after your light. And it has nothing to do with the people because God is no respecter of persons. It has to do with the gift and working your gift and being confident in your gift and standing and saying, here's the evidence on how I can do it, how I've worked my gift to do it at these stages before. And here's the evidence of what God says, what his truth says. He is no respecter of persons. He came to give me an abundant life. Hello. He will honor the desires of my heart as I delight myself in him. How do I delight myself in him? In his word. All of that to say, if you don't know Jesus as your Lord and Savior, I'm saying this as a friend, as a brother, you will struggle. I need you to know that if you believe in your heart that Jesus rose and died for your sins, and gave you a Holy Spirit to help you, to be an advocate, to be a guide in your life. If you believe in your heart and you confess out of your big fat mouth that Jesus Christ is Lord, he is my Lord and Savior, the Savior of my Lord. If you believe in your heart and confess with your mouth, you will be saved. If I didn't have all the words right, go to Romans 10:9. That will lead you in the right directions. And then after that, read John. And then after that, read Proverbs. Then after that, read the Gospels to understand the nature of God, nature of Jesus, to understand that he was full man, never sinned. And it ain't just his homeboys that said he never sinned. It was them people that was trying to kill him that said, oh, we can't say that you sinned. That's who I want to be like. That's who I want to be like in these stages, this transitional stage of my life where I'm away from the game. And to close, I want to ask you this question again. Functioning optimally in your current environment, what does that look like? And what do you need to function optimally for real? If you like this episode, if you like anything that you had on this here podcast, do me a favor, rate and review this podcast. Literally, let's have a 2-second because we got to go. 1, 2, rate and review. Ooh, I like that. Rate and review this podcast and share it to a friend. How? As I hit the mic, share it to a friend, share it to a family member, share it to your people, them, because I know that this community I'm passionate about building and pouring more into, even if I even have more, it's more from God for 2025. I need this to hit the homes, hit the hearts of the hearers. And so if you do that for me, I would greatly appreciate it. Till the next episode. Yeah, I love you, beautiful gal. And shout out, I'm actually going to have a request. I need it. If it would be possible, a graphic designer. I want some more digital assets for not only Mind Belly Podcast, but permission slips that I do on my IG. And my mission is to give you permission to be yourself. So every single day on Mind Belly Podcast, the page, I send voice memos like this because it's powerful to have a friend, a homeboy, somebody like me sharing you and speaking into you every single day. If you're interested in that, go to the Mind Belly Podcast gram and click on permission slips and say, yes, I want a permission slip to be me today. If you want that, do that. But digital assets, if you have graphic design experience, hit me up because the digital assets, I need that to hone in on. Until the next one, yeah, you beautiful lover, you. Bye-bye now.
Hey, Gen X, you going off.